Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Marketing and Mindset with your host, Matt Miller, today. And today I'm going to be going over my top 5 books all about marketing. So, this episode is for anybody who's interested in learning which 5 books have had the biggest impact on me and has taught me the most about marketing. And I really believe that these 5 books, if you're able to read them and master them, there's really not a lot of marketing that isn't covered. And I really think if you read these 5 books, you have everything you need to run a successful online business. And what's really cool about these 5 books is that it's only 2 authors. There's 2 authors. 3 of the books is part of a trilogy, and the other 2 are 2 individual books from another author. But I've noticed that these 2 authors, the way that they teach marketing seems to resonate the most with me, and I'd recommend these books. So we're going to be going over the top 5 books that I've read in terms of marketing. The very first book, it is by Russell Brunson, and it is the first book in his trilogy. It's Dotcom Secrets. That's the name of the book, Dotcom Secrets. And I gave it a 9 out of 10, and it is the underground playbook for growing your company online. And this book taught me a lot about marketing. It taught me a lot about messaging. And the biggest thing that I got out of this book was the idea and the topic of a sales funnel. And I didn't really know what a sales funnel was back a year and a half ago or so until I read this book and I started doing a lot of research on it. And basically what a sales funnel is it takes the journey from a prospect to a customer of yours. So it starts at the very top with maybe the prospect has some kind of awareness, and then it funnels them down into somebody who's interested, and then somebody who maybe has a desire, and then somebody who's at the very bottom of the funnel is somebody that takes action. But it's just a nice, cool representative that says everybody starts at the top. But as you get to know the person better and you get to know the brand and the product better, that person will have a better chance of completing all the way through the funnel. And then the second book in the trilogy is Expert Secrets. And this is also by Russell Brunson. I also gave it a 9. And it is the underground playbook for converting your online visitors into lifelong customers. And the biggest takeaway that I had from this book was if you're selling something, you want to invite your customers into a story. You don't want to tell them your story because they don't really care about your story. But if you're able to invite them into your story, now all of a sudden they're part of a movement and there's somebody that you could turn into a raving fan. And then the third book is Traffic Secrets. This is the third book in the trilogy. It's also by Russell Brunson. Also gave it a 9. And it is the underground playbook for filling your websites and funnels with your dream customers. And 2 things that I took away from this book. Number 1 is creating a dream customer avatar. So creating your ideal customer and going into specifics, talking about their gender, talking about their age, talking about how much money they make. And then once you know exactly who your dream customer is, that's when you want to focus all of your messaging and all of your marketing around that one person. And the second thing I took away from that book is you want to model the success of others. And something that is preached in that book is finding your dream 100. So taking a list of 100 people that you want to connect with in the future, someone that you want to learn more about, and you want to take that list of 100 people and see if you can reach out to them on social media, visit their websites, and just see what they're doing. Are they having funnels on their websites? Are they offering free stuff? How are they engaging customers? So those are the top 3 books, and those were all from Russell Brunson. And then the next 2 books are both from the same author, and it's Donald Miller, and it's 2 books that I've recently read. And the first one is Building a Story Brand. I gave this one an 8 out of 10, an 8.5 out of 10. And the biggest takeaway from this book was building a brand script. And Donald Miller talks about the customer journey from the start into the finish. He preaches about in every customer journey, there always starts out with the customer, and the customer has some sort of problem, something that they can't overcome. And then there's a guide that comes into the customer's journey, and this guide gives them a plan. And then once they give them a plan, that guide calls them to action. And then after they call them to action, they help their customer not fail and helps lead them towards success. And there's 7 chapters in the book that outlines each one of those talking points. So it's a chapter on the customer, and then there's a problem, and then there's a guide, and then the guide gives them a plan, then calls them to action, then leads them away from failure and leads them towards success. Those 7 things. And that was really powerful. And then the second book by Donald Miller was Marketing Made Simple. I also gave that an 8.5. And the biggest thing here was creating a one-liner. If somebody comes up to you and asks you, what do you do? A lot of people give either a very complicated answer or something that's very surface level. For example, if you ask me what I do, my answer might be, I work at a manufacturing company as an engineer. So that tells a little bit about it. But you can go a lot deeper by following a 3-part framework. First you give the problem, and then you give the solution, and then you give the transformation, or the problem, the solution, the result. So basically, for example, instead of saying you clean teeth at a dentist, you start with the problem. Well, a lot of people suffer by not able to eat the food that they want because they have aching teeth. So that's a problem. And then the result, we have a quick process where we fix your teeth in a pain-free way. And then what's the transformation? So then you can eat the food you enjoy. So it gives that framework. First, the problem, then the solution, and then the result. If you're able to follow that framework, you can clearly and concisely tell people what you do in an effective way. Those are the 5 books, 3 by Russell Brunson, 2 by Donald Miller. I'm listening to all of them on Audible. And a couple honorary mentions that I didn't mention. This one's called 30 Days In, and this is also from Russell Brunson. And basically what this one talks about is there's 30 or so people that are very successful. I think he talks about them being a 2 Comma Club award winner. So that means I think they made over $1 million. And each of these people talk about what they would do if they had to start over in the first 30 days. What are those step-by-step processes that they would do to make $1 million? So it's just cool to see 30 people that have made $1 million going back and having themselves re-engineer the process to understand how they would do it again if they were given that opportunity. And another thing that I wanted to mention is that this is the book Expert Secrets. This was one of the books in my top 5. And I listened to the Audible book, but then I also I didn't buy it. He gives away free books. And how I got this book was I went on his website, and he gives away free copies of his book. And it'll take you through a sales funnel, something that I learned a lot about in Dotcom Secrets. And it takes you through that sales funnel. He gives you a free book. You have to pay shipping, so probably $7. But I believe he ends up losing money on the book. And basically the reason he does this is because he takes you through a funnel, and then he has a lot of back-end offers where he'll try to upsell for maybe a course or maybe a live event or some different trainings. And that's how he becomes so profitable. Because he's giving the book away for free doesn't mean there's different avenues to make money. And he's really good at that. And not only does he give you a copy of his book and you start gaining trust and seeing what he does, but he also is profitable doing it. And then a lot of times the book will lead to a course or lead to a different training that you purchase, and he'll continue to make money that way. So he's a really good online marketer, and it's somebody that I've learned a lot from. And then a couple other books that I did not have on this list was Alex Hormozi's $100 million Offers and $100 million Leads. I'm a big fan of what he does as well. He's really interesting to follow on social media. Those 2 books were good, didn't make the top 5. But overall, those 5 books, Russell Brunson and Donald Miller, and then a couple honorable mentions. So I encourage everybody to go try out one of those books and see if you have the same experience that I had and see if you enjoy it. And if you do, go on to the next one and continue to go through the list. But thank you guys. That's all I got for this episode, and I'll be back with another episode shortly.